We are back on Season 2 of The Worst of the Worst, and I would promise that this episode will have less snark in it. I would definitely be lying. This is the series where apparently I rate your favorite games and then decide to crush your dreams. In reality, I'm picking 8 of the games in my collection and pitting them against each other to see which one is the worst of the worst. I managed to screw this up once this season, but we're going to try this again. We are focusing on game mechanics, presentation, game feel, and story. The game in question today is no stranger to having videos made on it, especially negative ones. In fact, it was even on an episode of the Angry Video Game Nerd. I was totally going to make this game come out later in the season, but an opportunity to have Silent Hill against Resident Evil again, I just couldn't help it. Last time we had Umbrella Corps against Silent Hill Homecoming, and funny enough, it was fairly close since I actually like both games.
Unlike Alone in the Dark.
Released in the year 2000, this game was something that the original wanted to be but wasn't able to, which is a game set in the first-person perspective. This was made at a time when console FPS was awkward. I find it interesting that this is a spin-off of one of the most popular franchises in video game history, and it's definitely an awkward spin-off. Survivor tells its own story, even if it's just a quick side story, so it's somewhat standalone. Now I say quick because this game is short. Like, under 2 hours short.
Show no mercy.
This is an interesting one. The PS1 wasn't known for its amazing FPS games. Sure, there were some that were good, but if you wanted the best first-person shooter experience, that was in the realm of the PC. Hell, I don't remember a stellar experience up until, like, Halo and Time Splitters 2. I feel old. Originally, the first Resident Evil was supposed to have this point of view, like previously said, and we finally get this now. And it's something. The tank controls are still here. No strafing in this game, and the use of the R1 button is raising your gun. That's right, you hold that button in order to make sure that your reticle is able to be used. It's a very clunky way to play a game like this, but oddly enough, I got fairly comfortable with it fast. Unlike previous games, there really is no need of the action button, because just running over objects and into doors automatically picks it up, or you go through the room transitions.
Show no mercy.
Wow, this game is ugly. Like, worse than my appearance, according to some of you. It's easy to see what they did in order to reuse assets as much as possible, and then you can really see when they had to come up with something original for the game. The zombies are the same ones used from Resident Evil 2. They just wholesale stuck them in this game, which isn't the worst, except these zombies were never meant to be on screen at this size for a long period of time. When they have to make up enemies, we get the weird looking ape things which are completely lacking in all detail. Final boss has the exact same vibe. The iconic save room music is nowhere to be found in this game because there is no saving. You're expected to play this game from beginning to end in one sitting. Can't finish it? Well, too damn bad. And no soothing music for you either. At the time of writing, I can't even remember any of the music, and I played this game yesterday. So the music is weird, some of the enemies sound weird, and the graphics are muddy, boring, and not stellar up close. Even the tyrant they use doesn't look even remotely original. It looks like a straight rip-off of the Resident Evil 2 Mr. X. No, that's not his actual name. And they even made this boring and uninspired.
show no mercy.
Now, I feel like Resident Evil games are far more complex than most fans want to believe. But not this one, and not even close. From the very beginning of this game, the quality of the writing is apparent, and its very low budget indie film feeling. Now, I have an absolute love for low budget indie films. Hell, Puppet Master is probably one of my favorite franchises, and sometimes they're a little rough to watch. So it's not like I don't enjoy some lower tier writing. But there is nothing redeeming here. You start the game not knowing who you are, only to be led to believe that you're Vincent, this awful Umbrella employee who butchered a lot of test subjects.
A picture. No, this is me. I am Vincent. It was all my fault. Who are you?
Wait. Please don't kill me.
This is a spoiler for a game you're never probably going to play, but you're not Vincent. In fact, you were asked to go in and be a spy by Leon Kennedy, I guess? It's a weird connecting point, and I guess this was the first connecting point between Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 4 for Leon, but this is forced at best.
Show no mercy.
I know there is a lot of people who are going to think I'm an absolute moron. But if we're being honest, past the first few minutes of the game, it really doesn't feel that bad. It's awkward. Let's not be stupid. But I can't say it's the worst thing I've played. As always, that's Alone in the Dark. If you defend that game, I got nothing for you, and I'm not sure why you still watch this series considering how often I dog on it. The worst part of this game, as far as how it feels, is when you get hit and the game forces you to look at the creature that just got you. The wide berth needed when trying to avoid enemies is far wider than you'd think, so when you get hit after just trying to avoid something, well, best way to say it is you're screwed. It does take time to get used to having to hold the R1 button in order to aim and fire, but as long as you think of this game as a Resident Evil game and not a standard first-person shooter, you should be okay. I'm not saying this is a good control scheme by any stretch of the imagination, but it can be tolerated. Run speed feels good. Reloading isn't the worst. Navigating the menus is awful, and I miss the old school style, but it's actually not a deal breaker.
Humiliation.
Yep, I knew the moment I replayed this game that I was going to piss somebody off, but this game really isn't that bad. Yeah, it has a lot of issues, like the god-awful voiceover, the lack of any real solid storyline that actually matters in the entire context of the Resident Evil universe. That would be nice. None of these characters really get talked about again, and for good reason, because none of them matter, and none of the events of this game matter. For a cash grab, this game is definitely better than Silent Hill Downpour, which really is a shame because I wanted to love that game, and it has some issues, but ultimately, I just didn't have a whole lot of fun playing it. Survivor, on the other hand, is squirrely and rough, but kind of like a Grindhouse style of film. It's just different. Yeah, zero chance for Survivor to take the top spot this season. Before I started playing, I was sure in thinking that this would end up being the season winner, and not even by a little bit. But now, here we are. And so far, nothing this season comes even close to how absolute garbage Alone in the Dark is. I really do hate that game.
The fan base isn't a whole lot better either. You guys are a little weird.